The New York Times reports Murdoch's 4 children are in court over who will eventually control News Corp, his $19 billion empire. The family feud pits Murdoch and his eldest son Lachlan against the 3 other siblings, James, Elizabeth, and Prudence, his eldest child. Joining me now is one of the reporters who broke this story, New York Times writer-at-large Jim Rutenberg. All right, Jim, why are the 3 siblings going up against Lachlan and Rupert?
Well, thanks for having me. And I just would say it's really why is Rupert going against the 3 siblings? Because this is Rupert Murdoch changing what's called a irrevocable family trust that when he dies would give his 4 children, the 3 you mentioned, and his son Lachlan, who currently runs the company, shared say in its future. Rupert has made his designated heir Lachlan Murdoch, and he wants Lachlan to have full control and block out his 3 siblings.
So this, in your reporting, though the trust is irrevocable, it contains a narrow provision allowing for changes done in good faith and with the sole purpose of benefiting all of its members. How does this particular thing impact this fight?
Well, this is kind of fascinating. Part of what, according to the court records that we've obtained, we see here is that Rupert Murdoch is basically arguing what he's doing he's allowed to do only if it benefits all of the heirs, including these 3 siblings. And he's saying that if it were to happen, that they would move aside their brother Lachlan and take over the company. Those 3 are more politically moderate than Lachlan is understood to be. Perhaps they would change the political orientation of Fox and the rest of the company, and that would affect the value potentially. So what he's saying he's doing is protecting the value of the trust for all involved, including these 3, against their own instincts, which he would say were the wrong instincts.
Because explain that, the sort of political inclinations of these 4 children and how that could affect Rupert Murdoch's legacy.
Well, it's understood that, especially the son James, it's James, Prudence, and Elizabeth are the 3. James is more moderate than Lachlan. When the 2 ran the company together a few years ago, they would sometimes clash about the direction, for instance, of Fox News in the Trump era. Was Fox News getting too kind of pro-Trump and kind of leaning into content that James wasn't comfortable with? They would clash about that. They had disagreements. Lachlan won. James, presumably, if he were to try to take control, and that's a dispute whether he would, but if he were, would he reorient Fox? Now, I don't think James would ever turn Fox into some liberal network. I think what as we understand it, what was talked about was just a more sort of more classically journalistic, less of the opinion we see at night that strays into territory such as, they got sued by Dominion Voting Systems for some of that content. So this is where the 2 don't see eye to eye per se, and would the whole company kind of change if James and his sisters were in charge? An open question, but one that Rupert does not want to see answered.
And Rupert Murdoch named this Project Harmony?
That's as we understand it. It was named Project Harmony. The argument being that right now it's set up for these 4 to hash it out amongst themselves. And apparently Rupert sees that as a recipe for ongoing fights between the siblings. This is, again, they appear to be arguing in these court papers, potentially bad for the trust and the companies that it manages or that it oversees. So he thought maybe this would be harmonious, that it'll be answered. There's one person in charge, it's Lachlan, nothing to fight about. Well, it didn't really work out that way, as now they are locked in a court battle in Nevada over this trust.
Yeah, certainly they're not feeling the harmony, the other 3 kids in this. Jim, great reporting. Thank you so much for taking us through it. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.